pulled away.
Yeah.
Now
Do you think
serious.
that like 8 to 10s belong to the streets forever? I've heard some PUAs say that. I'm curious if you think
8 to 10s belong
like
to the
8
streets.
pluses, because they're so monetized. Even if they're not, like, I think mids are sluttier than 8 pluses because like that they have to be to compete. But like, like, because I had a PI on the show and he was saying how like if they're super hot, like they can do nothing and get things in return, or the mids have to put out.
The mids have to put out.
But that he was saying though that like the 8 pluses, a lot of them will never like get married or whatever because they're just so monetized for so long. And I was curious if you agreed or you did, because you guys, like the dating coaches are the ones like you guys get to see firsthand what's going on, because there's so many different guys you guys are getting information from, you know.
We run large sample sizes.
We see
it all the time. So they are monetized to a degree, but you will get the occasional 8, 9s, and 10s. I think this is an exception to that rule, that maybe live in a city or a country where everybody's an 8 or a 9 or a 10.
Oh, okay.
Right? And they don't know that. Or, you know, they might be unaware of it. Or they just don't. I think it requires also, if you're a girl who's an 8, 9, or a 10 and you're monetizing it, I think it requires a level of ambition. You know? Like you want, there's a drive there as well. And a lot of girls might not have that drive, that ambition. And so you might meet a few of them who don't have that. They have a regular, you know, small Instagram, 500, 600 followers, you know? So I think that's an exception to the rule. But I think a 7 can, nowadays with social media and the amount of simping that's going on, a 7 can monetize it too.
Yeah.
I mean, you have 5s monetizing it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could get the filters.
You
Filters and some plastic surgery.
You have so many girls monetizing it now. It's like, well... You kind of just have to work around that. Yeah,
so what changes have you seen in the last 10 years? Like with women monetizing more? Is that like a common thing where like they'll approach a girl? And for me, when I was interviewing, I couldn't believe how many people had OnlyFans of the women. That seemed really normal. And is that something you guys have come across, or is that just... Because people will say, go touch grass. It's just your podcast. So I'm curious what you've seen on like the ground level.
I mean, I think it definitely, you definitely attract that type of audience, right? But from what I've seen, there's definitely an increase. It's not nearly as many as you think, but you definitely do see an increase. Now, was there a point that they might have had one and then they failed? I don't know, right? I can't tell you that. But
they said, I need to find these girls.
Where are they, right? I'll help you find them, brother. And so we have seen an increase in that over the last 10 years, but what we've seen an increase the most that I think is really damaging is the amount of bad advice between women's circles. Because women's circles are growing stronger. I think that's how feminism is materializing, is you're getting 4 or 5 groups of girls, and they're a girls group, and they all give each other shitty advice, you know? And now you have a lot of those groups that are very hard to break, or they just don't look at men as, they just don't respect men in general, right? Their opinion or anything. And so I think that's what we're seeing an increase in, or what we've seen in the last 10 years. Whereas before, it was more so like, oh, this is my group, and you know, they're a couple, and it's like a couples group more so. Maybe there's a third wheel here and there. But now it's like more single groups, you know, that hang out. So that's kind of like a big increase in change that we've been seeing. And
so how does that translate into like the places that men should approach women? Because it used to go through like social group. So where would you suggest they approach now?
Yeah, social groups are third places, right? Like universities, churches. That used to be like the number one place to approach. Now
it's like all online now.
It's majority online. But what I'll tell guys is, you can meet a girl online, but if you don't have your communication skills, you're gonna have to go out with her and see her in person. You might look cool online, and then you're gonna meet her and you're, oh, he's a loser, you know? So anywhere you see a girl you're attracted to, it could be the grocery store, the Target, the gym, the club, the bar, the coffee shop, wherever, lounge, cocktail lounge, cigar lounge, doesn't matter. She could be your hostess, your waitress, wherever. But I advise guys to always go for it, always, because you don't know when you're gonna see her again. So it's anywhere. I don't really want to say there's a particular venue to do it. I just want to say, just be ready at all times. Just be ready at all times. Obviously, if you're looking for hookups, bars, clubs, those are the best. If you're looking for something serious, go to events and meetups and activities that fit with your lifestyle. You know, if you're into cycling, go to cycling classes, right? If you're into running, run clubs are huge now. Whatever fits your lifestyle, you know? if you're into the gym, go to the Mr. Olympia or something like that. Okay, and then approach women there. Something that fits your lifestyle. But if you're looking for hookup bars, clubs, nothing beats that. Online is also really easy to hook up with girls that you meet online, like Hinge, your Tinder, all those things.
Are the guys now, is it mostly like drinks? I've heard some guys are doing like movies at their place and they go straight to. Do you see that? Is that a thing?
No. So,
like, what's the close rate usually of?
Good question. So for the average guy, because I talk to guys like this all day, literally like 3 or 4 that I'm talking to. The average guy, I kid you not, gets very few matches.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah.
Right? And out of that, maybe he gets 1 date, 2 dates a month, right? And then out of that, maybe he sleeps with one every 3 months, a couple months, right? One of the things I like to ask,
is it just once, or do they keep coming? I've heard some guys, their problem is like they can sleep with them, but they can't get the girl to commit.
Well,
I was like, what are we living in this world?
Right, where the girl is just walking away after giving up.
Shit was telling me about one of his friends. He's like, he'll bang these like hot women, and he like wants a girlfriend. And he's like, they won't stick around.
The girls are the dogs nowadays, right? The girls are the dogs.
I'm like, damn, they won't.
What a sick society we live in. No, but
he's like, you don't want to get breakfast? They're like, no.
Dude, I'm yearning for a relationship.
He's like, you don't want to like cuddle?
I'm just a walking stick of meat for you. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, but it is tough for guys. I think retaining the relationship. I think what happens with that, the guys that are saying that, are the guys who only get one girl. I think so. It's already a biased pool, right? Because it's the guys that got one girl and they're so clinging and hung up on her because that's the only option they had, and they're like, oh, I can't retain them because they only had that option. Right? But if they had more options, I could guarantee you they would probably retain all of them. Right?
No, this like I don't know if you've seen this, but like I did it. I had guys on Twitter send me their stats of like they slept with this many women, and how many like wanted relationships. And I found that like some guys they would all the girls they slept with wanted relationships, and some guys it was like out of 50, like none. So
it was very polarized. It was binary.
That's the numbers I got. You see more than I do.
Yeah. So what I see with the guys is, I mean, if you understand women properly, right, and she sleeps with you, she's going to want to come back all the time, right? I know I could hit up, for example, right now, right? I could hit up any girl, right? And she'd be cool even if I haven't spoken to her in a year, right? So I know they all do want a relationship. So once you understand women properly and not just to hook up with them, right? If you look at dating, like, I'm going to talk to her like I want a long-term relationship and talk to her in that manner. A hookup's going to happen. It's bound to happen. It's a side effect of being good long-term relationship material is a hookup, right? So I think guys who can't retain that girl, I think it also merits to look at the genetic pool. You know what I mean? It might be guys who are better looking, taller, but they might not be good long-term relationship material.
Like the bartender that's
it's
like
stuff where the girl's like,
he said he was a DJ.
Where it's like he's so hot, or he has like that clout. Where I kind of want that experience. And so that's all they want from him, right? But I could give you like if he was a DJ, but when he talked to her, he was like, he didn't talk about being a DJ. He just treated her like a long-term relationship. She would have came back.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah, 100%. But I think that's what happens is like those guys that are saying that, they're kind of like that fun experience, genetic type pool. And then the girl has fun, right? But if the girl would have realized, oh my God, not only is he a DJ, not only is he a bartender, but he's also like super sweet and I could see a relationship with him, then they would have stuck around. But that's usually what I see because I do coach guys, but they have that problem where they're good looking guys, 6'4", right? Total chats are like girls that just don't want to, stick around. And I get to know them. I'm like, well, yeah, because you're a douchebag, right? You got to treat them better, right? You got to be a long-term relationship material. And they're not used to that because girls they don't have to do that. Right. Whereas a guy who doesn't get that, he has to lead with that.
Oh, so they're probably like something's wrong with their long-term personality.
Exactly.
It's like they're attractive. 2 different animals. Oh, so they're attractive in the beginning, but the long-term personality.
Think about it like you go to work, right? You're wearing your work hat.
Yeah.
And then you come home, now you have to change to your husband hat.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing in a long-term relationship. You have your hookup hat, the fun, flirty guy. Oh, I just want to, fuck this guy. He's so fun. He's so hot. He's so flirty. But then you have those serious conversations with her where, like, it makes her feel like, oh, we're talking about my past, the future. He's got ambitions. I could see myself as part of his journey, right? He switched hats from that, fun, flirty fuckboy to that, okay, he could be boyfriend dating guy.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of guys.
Then she'll be disappointed.
Yeah. She'll be disappointed. And then he's like, never mind, I'm gone. Right? But that's why they can't retain him, because they forget to switch hats. Yeah, they forget to switch hats.
Sell the dream.
Sell the dream. We were talking about that. Sell the dream.
Do you ever so if you have a girl that like you kind of want to go away, you ever just get like douchier,
I'll
like
tell you
trying
a story.
to get her to leave?
I'll tell you a story. So
Okay.
there's a point in my life where I was like, I don't know if I should just ghost the girls or tell them the truth. And I asked the girl, I was like, do you want me to ghost you or do you want me to tell you the truth? And she's like, tell me the truth. I told her the truth. She goes, I would rather you've ghosted me.
What did you say?
I was like, I don't see myself with you long term. It was already like 6-7 months. And she's already getting like, what are we?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't see myself, with you long term. You have a lot of issues. Yeah.
What were the issues?
She didn't have a father figure.
Okay.